Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, taking a look at the 10-star KIZUNA Clash against Luffy and Ace, and breaking down each individual variation with a one team versus all for you guys for the max ticket growth you could possibly get without using the new batch of characters. So no Mihawk, no Moria, no Doffy Crocodile on your team. However, the one team versus all will use a friend captain Crocodile Doffy because that is the best way to maximize your ticket growth when doing your assists. Obviously, you want to be doing the suicide strat when you are diving in, so finding Croc and Doffy is essential for your own runs to suicide. But for stuff like assists, I do have individual teams that not only use Doffy Croc as a friend captain, but have the option of using other characters as your friend captain as well. Because I do understand that it's very hard to find the new debut legend when not a lot of people are summoned because Anniversary just came and this is like a post-celebration. And they're sort of just trying to weasel out as much of it as they can before that guy actually turns up. But this is the infographic for the 10-star event. If you enjoy the video, bell, like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys are running in the comment section below, and if you agree with anything, like if I made mistakes, like please let me know. If you have any questions or need substitutes, let me know down there below. I might do some shorts on like some teams that utilize stuff like Moria and Mihawk if you guys did some summons. But ideally, like, they work so well at, like, getting around particular buffs that you could probably just slide them into these particular teams from what you see today. But if you enjoy the video, bell, like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. First of all, though, before we actually break down each individual variation, we're going to take a look at the one team versus all. Now, this is the team that I put together. It utilizes Shanks' crew as a captain with a friend captain, Doffy and Croc. Now, everyone's boosted under Doffy, Croc, Cerebrals, and Driven. Shiki does need to be level limit break 5 though for this team to like function properly, but I don't have any supports here, so you have a plethora of options when it comes to support characters in the game. But we'll break down this particular team and how it operates for each particular individual stage when we go through them as well. But like I said, it uses a Doffy Croc friend captain, and that way you get the most tickets. So that's the one team versus all. Let's take a look at each individual variation now, and let's start breaking down the 10-star against Luffy and Ace. So the first variation is against the Int variation, and it looks a little bit funny because we're running a mono quick team. So the first thing I noticed when I actually read this information was there is no full immunity. It has immunity against poison, immunity against delay, and immunity against defense down. Now that means you can use my homie, my boy, Super Tandem Shanks. So the first team is led by Super Tandem Shanks. Driven Cerebral Powerhouse characters get all their cooldowns, all the good stuff, versatility, all that stuff. On stage 2, there's 5 turns of damage reduction, bind on the middle row by 3 turns, and a full board of unfavorable orbs. On the final stage, you have the immunity for poison, delay, and defense down. Your friend captain gets stunned. Your captain gets 5 turns of despair after sockets. There's 5 turns of paralysis, and you get an attack down if you're below a 3.0 chain boundary for 3 turns. After level 31, which you're probably not going to see that often, but to take it down, this team actually helps out. There's an extra turn of despair, extra turn of paralysis, and 3 turns of special bind on your middle and bottom row. So, to get around all these shenanigans, this is the team, and it does use a friend captain, Doffy and Croc, or you can run any other quick boosting captain you like. You can use Luffy, the Red Rock Luffy. You can use 6++ Uta. You can use her Shanks crew friend captain. You could run Shiki as your friend captain, and then bring like someone else on your team instead if you guys are missing level limit break 5 Shiki, because he's a paralysis remover that just helps out exceptionally well. But there are some other stuff you can do. You could use something like Shiki as a friend captain, bring Robin on your team with the chopper support. That could definitely work. You could run Shanks as a friend captain and run Robin as a leader. But to break it down, basically the way this works is we use the Shanks super type to actually turn the enemy into a strength unit, and then we can basically get the ball rolling. This particular Gordon as well basically covers everything you need to worry about on the final stage. He has bind, despair, and paralysis removal, which is just exceptional. Special bind, paralysis, and despair removal, which is literally all the things you need to worry about on the final stage, except after level 30, it's an extra turn of despair, an extra turn of paralysis, so you will need to bring someone else that can actually help you out there. But with Uta on the final stage, she can actually remove more despair, so then you really just need to bring paralysis, and that's where Shiki comes into play. Shiki's actually an orb booster for this team, but he actually gives you the stun removal by cutting your HP. As I mentioned though, if you have Robin, this particular Robin, the Super Sugo one, you can actually bring her as a captain, as she also has an orb boosting mechanic in her super class, and then you can actually run the chopper support on her to give a HP cut. The summer chopper, this one right here, he does 70% on the final stage, so you have that option as well, and that way you literally just don't even really need Shiki at all. But the way that I've sort of built the team together, it looks a little bit like this, so that way you can actually get like the Shanks Super Tandem and all of that fun stuff as well. As for the supports, you can kind of just go for gold with anything. If you bring a Doffy and Crocodile Friend Captain, this team is actually going to do exceptionally well at getting ticket growth as well. But like I said, if you can't find them, this team has a lot of other options to get around that particular stuff. Ideally, what we want to do is we want to use the Uta Special on turn 2 to give us a chain boost, and then we can use Sabo to get around the damage reduction. We get 3 turns of the chain boundary. Then on the final stage to get around stuff like the Paralysis, the Despair, the Special Blind, we have Gordon, we have Shiki as well. Shiki's another really good option. Gordon is a base stat booster too, that's why I have him here. And then Shanks is your chain boost, your color affinity. Uta starts the Super Tandem, and then you can sort of just go absolutely berserk with that. So that's the first team. With the one team versus all, to get around the damage reduction on stage 2, we are utilizing the big one. We're using the super swap of Doffy Crocodile. Remember, the one team versus all has to use a Doffy Crocodile. We're using the super swap there to get around the bind on the middle row, and then Big Mom gets around the damage reduction. We can use the super swap of Shanks Crew here as well to actually give us an attack boost and a full border orbs, which is super nice. And then basically it should be an easy kill there. To get around the Despair, Paralysis, Attack Down, and the Stun, we have the combination of Shiki and Crocodile. Crocodile's going to be a color affinity booster. You can then switch with Shanks Crew again after utilizing the Doffy Croc special for an attack boost to then be a base stat boost. And then for this team, what's his name? Hack really doesn't do too much here. He's sort of just for the other variations. But his team should work very nicely. It does, like I said, need a level limit break 5 Shiki for some special bind removal. Oh, actually, no, you don't, because you actually, no, because you get despaired. Yeah, you get despaired first, so you actually need the special bind from Shiki as well. So level limit break 5 is actually pretty essential there. So moving on to the second variation, we have the quick variation of Luffy and Ace, and Driven, Slash, and Powerhouse characters get all the good stuff. On stage 2, there is a barrier for 1 int orb for 2 turns. There's 5 turns of burn, and then easy hit your perfects, which is a bit annoying because the stupid burn, but look, I don't think it's going to be a huge problem, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. There'll be full immunity except for defense down. There's 5 turns of defense up, and intimidation on slots for 1 turn, 5 turns of despair after sockets, and after level 30, if you guys see this, extra turn of defense up, extra turn of despair, and limits of 2 specials. So very, very annoying there. Basically, the team looks like this. It's a combination of like a Driven Slasher Cerebrally kind of team. And then with a friend captain, Doffy and Crocodile, it's going to help out there because everyone's boosted except for Odin. But if you can't find Doffy Croc, don't stress. This team can rock with another Zoro captain. You can use Paraspero if you really want to. You can use Shanks and Buggy. You could use Primebeard. You could use Blackbeard. Like, the list goes on and on with the options you guys have for this particular team. So it's led by Zoro, and the idea of Zoro is on stage 2 we can use his orb boost. So that way we get the 2 point the big ass orb boost there, which is always fun. And then with the burn, we're actually going to get low enough to get his 5 times attack boost. So that's going to be really, really nice. We should take 20,000 damage through that burn. But then utilizing Odin, we can remove the barrier, and we can extend the orb boost for 2 turns. So that way we can carry it into the next stage. Now, that's the idea here, to get around the intimidation as well, which is super, super nice. And then to get around the despair, we have a bunch of supports: Corazon, Lafitte, and Sanji on our Blackbeard, Law, and Zoro. Law's going to be our attack booster. He also gives us the additional damage. Blackbeard is going to set defense to 0, so we get around that. And he also is a conditional booster and a base stat booster. And then with the super type of Zoro, we can get a color affinity boost. Because remember, after level 30, you can only use 2 specials. And unless you're bringing a Doffy Croc friend captain, you are going to have to deal with that. Hiyori's just there literally just to trigger the super type of Zoro. We get Wano orbs as well, which is kind of nice. But you can also use her to just sort of heal back if you need to, for whatever reason. But I don't really see you really needing a reason for her special anyway. She's just kind of there for the Wano orbs, just to help out on stage 2 when you get that orb boost. Because remember, we're going to get rid of that barrier anyway. If you use something like Shanks Buggy as a friend captain, you can use their color affinity special on turn 2 as well. So that way you go into the dual form, you don't have to worry about the 2 specials on the final stage. If you're using something like Blackbeard, you can use his special on stage 2. So that way you get the 3 turns of the orb boost and the base stats as well. If you're using Prime Beard, you can just basically bink whatever friend captain you're using on the second last stage, which is great. So that's the team, the single team. But with the one team versus all, it works a little bit like this. To get around the barriers, we're going to be utilizing the super swap of Shanks and Buggy. Not Shanks and Buggy, sorry. Doffy and Crocodile. Doffy Crocodile will give us a full border in orbs, and that should be able to get through the barrier. So with that super switch, you can get around the barrier on turn 2, which is really, really nice. But we also have the special of Hack. Hack can actually get rid of barriers here as well. However, you don't really need it, so it doesn't mean too much. But you can also use the special of Big Mom on this stage, so that way you get the carryover orb, so you don't have to worry about the intimidation. And then ideally, we want to switch with Shanks Crew. Now, Shanks Crew doesn't get all the good stuff, because we ideally are starting as the Redhead Pirates, not as Shanks himself. But if it does become an issue, you can easily, like, right before it, just literally, he's usually at the top as well, just change, and that way you get all the good stuff. Now, I don't think it'll be a problem, but if it is, just to get around something like the burn, then you can use the chain lock on stage 2, and you'll pretty much be hunky-dory there. But for the 2 that matter, you need to start as the Redhead Pirates, so that'll work absolutely fine. Now, Big Mom's Orb Boost will only work for, like, 4 of your units here, but, like, it's really not going to matter all that much. On the final stage, because there's the Intimidation, you are going to need that Big Mom Orb buff there, so when you see the burn, make sure you use that. But basically, Croc gets around all of this nasty stuff on the final stage. The Despair, the Defense Up is just covered by Croc. You don't even need the Shiki special on this particular stage. And then ideally, like I said, if you can remember to swap into Shanks, then you'll have his chain lock and all those shenanigans too, and you'll be pretty much hunky dory there. So yeah, that's the one team versus all. Let's move on to the final variation. The final variation is actually a strength variation where Dex, Quick, and In characters get all the good stuff. There's 5 turns of resilience on stage 2, 3 turns of special binds, as well as on the final stage getting 99 turns of immunity except for delay, which is not too hard to get around. There's 1 turn of special reverse, lock specials until 3 good taps, 5 turns of attack down, and then bind on your middle and bottom row for 3 turns after sockets. After level 31, there is a barrier for a 20-hit combo. There is attack down if you're above or at a 3.76 chain multiplier, and an attack down increase of 1 turn. So this is where Shanks Crew is so goddamn good, because you can use Shanks Crew special to give you a chain lock at 3.75. It's just like the perfect spot to be with this particular annoying factor. But on top of that, Shanks Crew can actually get around the special bind and the resilience on stage 2. So the team looks like this. We are using Shanks Crew for our one team versus all, which works out pretty nicely. But utilizing Shanks Crew on turn 2 is going to be super nice. Now, this team rocks with a Doffy Crocodile friend captain, but you can also use Super Tandem Shanks. He works exceptionally well because the Redhead Pirates will trigger the Super Tandem for Super Tandem Shanks. You could easily use Uta 6+ here. If you don't have Robin, you can bring a friend captain Robin. If you don't have Red Rock Luffy, you can use Red Rock Luffy. The list goes on and on and on what you can actually use. But Red Rock Luffy on the team is so good because you can use the Ace support. If you aren't using your own Red Rock Luffy, you just need to use another another Luffy, so that way you can actually use that Ace support to get around the bind on the final stage for your middle and bottom row. Unless you are using Doffy Crocodile, because then you can just use their switch ability, which works out quite nicely. But Shanks Crew basically just take care of stage 2 easily. The special reverse and the barrier is covered by Hack. We have a double conditional with this team too, being Usopp and Robin, because Robin can give the double and there's no immunity to delay, which is awesome. And then you have your attack boost of whatever your friend captain is, or you can use it with Luffy. I do have the Smoker support on Hack in case you're bringing something like Super Tandem Shanks for your color affinity, so then you can get the attack boost from the Smoker support, and then Luffy can be your orb buff unit there as well. But it really depends on what you guys want to run here. If you find Doffy Crocodile friend captors, ideally bring that, but if you can't, this team will actually work fine without them. The one team versus all operates very similarly on stage 2. Shanks Crew basically just take care of that super easy peasy. Ideally, you kind of want to switch on turn 1 with them and then switch back into the quick variation. So that way you get the base stat boost to carry into the final stage rather than color affinity, because Croc is already a color affinity booster. Shanks Crew just basically take care of that stage 2 easy peasy. And then on the final stage, to get around the barriers and the special reverse, we're going to be using Hack here. To get around the attack down, we have Crocodile, and then you can use Shiki to get around, or to give yourself an orb boost as well. So that's basically it. That's the 10-star event versus Luffy and Ace for the one team versus all and the high ticket boosted teams. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If you did, and you did enjoy the video, make sure to go down there, belt like button for me, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly though, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. If you guys need help with subs and stuff, let's have a chat about it in the comment section below. Remember, you have a lot of room for support here, and you can get a lot more damage out there. But like I said, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's